We're going live.
No. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Good morning, guys. It's Wednesday. We are live. You guys up to? Hopefully it's something fun and interesting. Hopefully you guys are doing something cool today. We're going to work, Paul. That's how cool is that? You know, I know exactly how you feel. Right after the stream, workday starts. What's going on, guys? If you guys have been following me on social media, you know that I spent this last weekend up at Sturgis, right? The world famous motorcycle rally up in Sturgis, South Dakota. And I went and crashed at Aaron Clary's house. If you guys don't know who Aaron Clary is, first of all, you got to fix that, because Aaron Clary is like one of the coolest dudes ever. He's an author of, like, I don't know, 100 books or something like this at this point. He's actually getting ready to write 2 books, right? He's got 2 books in the works right now. But went to go stay at his compound. And Clary is the kind of guy, he teaches guys minimalism, right? That's like one of his biggest things, teaching people to live below their means so that they can live a lifestyle that they actually want, right? Have more freedom in life without spending as much money. It's kind of a cool concept. He also has a bunch of other books on stuff like, I discovered Aaron because someone told me about his book called The Book of Numbers. The Book of Numbers is all about analyzing your return on investment in the pursuit of women, which is it's a funny book. It's also a depressing book because you'll realize you'll spend, tons of money chasing women and get very little in return with it, right? Especially with some of these women out there these days that just have no personalities. They have no concept of anything outside of themselves. They're just, the modern women that you hear about. There's still good women out there, though. You know what I mean? So, like, those kinds of books are really, sort of embraced by the MGTOW community, but I don't think it's an accurate representation of women in the United States as a whole, because the United States is a huge place, right? It's a huge place. But a lot of guys are focusing on chicks in some of these bigger cities like LA, New York, Miami, Vegas. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you compare the women in those areas, yeah, you probably find a lot of trash women. But you come out to the country, there's a lot of good women out here still. You know what I mean? So anyway, Clary's a good dude. He let me crash in his bunker, and we went riding around town. And this was the longest motorcycle ride I've ever been on. Right? I've never up until this point, the longest one was just like a couple of weeks ago. I rode my motorcycle out to Glenwood Springs. We did a whole Rule Zero on why you should own a motorcycle, and that was sort of the inspiration for that episode. And that was only a 5-hour loop that I did, right? But heading up to Clary's house, according to Google Maps, it was supposed to be about 11-hour motorcycle ride. Well, if you've ever ridden on a motorcycle that friggin' long, it's pretty easy to stretch that out into 14 hours because you got to stop because your ass hurts. and like my trap right here started getting really tense because, I don't have a cruise control on my bike. Clary told me I need to get a throttle lock for my bike. He has one. And man, yeah, everything aches, right, when you get done with that. So you got to stop at, frequently at gas stations. Plus, most motorcycles don't have gas gauges. You can't tell if you're going to be empty or not. My bike at least has a gas light that tells me when I'm about to run out of gas, which is nice, but not exactly helpful for planning purposes. So I was very adamant about making sure that about once an hour, if there was a gas station, I was stopping. And that also just gave me the time to stretch my legs and stuff like that. So anyways, it ended up being very long days because I went up there in one shot on Friday and I came back in one shot on Monday. And so, but that also gave me the inspiration for this episode, right? Like, going on an adventure like that, man, guys, you need to consider doing stuff like that. Maybe not a long motorcycle ride, but just something, something that it takes you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you go and you experience it. And it's like, oh man, I did that. I did that. What an amazing feeling it is to do something like that. So we're going to be talking about how I wasn't always like that. I wasn't always Mr. Like, let's go on an adventure. Let's go on this random adventure stuff. It took me a while to get there. Because yeah, I mean, like after my divorce, I would say like if I stayed married, right? If I stayed married, I'd be on the same trajectory as my parents. My dad is one of the most boring dudes in the world. He doesn't do anything. My parents have a sort of, I guess I could call it a farm slash ranch up the hill. And oh God damn it. My mic's all messed up. Hold on. Oh, thanks, Vince. I should have done.
Okay, is this better? Is this better? We got to start all over again. Son of a gun. Oh, thanks, Vince. Appreciate it. Is it better, guys? Is it better? Did you guys all leave because the mic sucked? Mike, is it better? Larry, is it better? Are we good? Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Jesus Christ. I apologize. Look at this. We're 6 minutes in and the mic's all jacked up. But it's fixed now. So yeah, so getting back to this stuff, my parents are boring as hell. My dad, his whole existence is they have this farm about, I don't know, about 7 miles north of me. And my dad goes out, they're both retired, right? They're in their 70s. And my dad goes out, he might putz around the yard, just to do something, maybe he'll go mow the lawn with his tractor. And then he'll go inside and literally just watch old Westerns and Fox News, like that's his life. And he hates people. So he doesn't go out and he doesn't have a social life. He doesn't, he's not a part of like the Elks Lodge or anything, which is a funny story, which I might get to here in a little bit, but he doesn't do anything. Right. And my mom, she can't live like that. So she goes out and she volunteers for the local Republican Party, and she goes and that's like how she socializes. And then she hates all the bitches down at we're not at the 8-minute mark. You guys send super chats today. She goes down there and argues with all the old biddies at the Republican office, and like that's her social life, right? And then they're always backstabbing each other, and same with like the Democrats are always suing them, and they're always suing the Democrats. It's a whole fiasco, right? But that's their life. They never go out and do adventurous stuff for the most part. My mom for a while was into raising show dogs, so she would actually travel around and show her dog. That's kind of exciting. That might be considered something on one of these lists. But my dad wouldn't go with her. He'd be like, "Yeah, you go," and then he would just stay at home watching Fox News and stuff like that, right? Well, I was pretty much on that same trajectory in my marriage, right? Which is probably why my marriage ended, because I was a boring, fat piece of crap. You know what I mean? And then after the divorce, I was pretty much doing the same thing. I didn't go out and do anything special. When I got into my relationship with Red Pill Chick, I didn't do anything. And I sort of fell into that relationship for 4.5 years, and I was happy to just go back and forth to her house and my house, and that was pretty much it. We went and she would suggest, "Hey, let's go do a weekend getaway," or something like that. But it would always be her suggestion. It wasn't ever like, "Oh, I'm taking the lead and saying, hey, let's go travel here and go do this." You know what I mean? I took her with me to San Diego a couple of times on business trips, but that was like the extent of it. You know what I mean? And so when that relationship ended, I decided, and I started reading about all this stuff, started reading about, just being a more interesting guy. And I realized, man, do I live a boring life? I live a very boring life. This is also why I say that when you're out there learning to level up to try to be more attractive to women, it turns you to a better man in general, because you'll find that the stuff that makes you a more attractive man, it sometimes doesn't even have anything to do with women, right? Like going on this stuff for you it's just fun to do, and then it gives you just more exciting stories, right? So you're doing it for yourself, and then the women are a byproduct. So yeah, I mean, I go on all sorts of, ever since Red Pill Chick, I've done all sorts of cool stuff, all sorts of interesting things. And then since I've met Nurse Chick, I've continued to do those things. I haven't slacked off, because that's a big problem too, is a lot of guys, get into relationships and then they fall back on old habits. Does my family know I talk shit about them every week? No, I don't think they tune in. And even if they did, I would just tell them, hey, I'm not wrong. You are fucking boring. You don't do shit. I tell that to them, to their face, all the time. They don't care. So yeah, anyway, so I've gone on all sorts of adventures now, right? Since the relationship with Red Pill Chick ended. And but I do it all for myself, right? And then the women are just sort of a byproduct of being more interesting, right? You have more interesting stories to tell. And women tend to want to join your lifestyle and go on adventures with you, right? A lot of guys are focused on spending their money on fancy cars and fancy watches and all this kind of stuff to try to show status, when you don't have to do any of that, right? You can go on drink dates with chicks and then have a conversation with them. And when they ask, like, hey, what did you do this weekend? Or a big conversation when I was out on the dating circuit again was like, what was I doing during COVID? Right? What was I doing during COVID? Because I was out dating during COVID. I wasn't stuck in my house. Like some of these guys out there, I remember in the 3% man group, they were like dying of mental problems because of all the isolation. It's like, well, you'll find that there's still chicks willing to go out and meet you, right? And one of the best things about COVID was that nothing was open. So you had to be creative, and you didn't need any money, right? Because nothing was open anyway. So I would say, hey, once you meet me at a park, I'll smuggle some wine. And so I'd bring like a picnic blanket and some wine, or I'd bring some beer in a cooler, and we would sit there and have drinks at the park. Cost me like, I don't know, depending on the whatever I bought, maybe $20 for a bottle of wine. If I just got a cheap bottle of wine, and it just sat there with the chicks. And then the next day I would say, hey, why don't you come back to my place? I'll cook you dinner, because nothing was open. It was the best. It was the best, guys. If you guys weren't dating during COVID, you were missing out. You're definitely missing out. And so anyway, but there was like chicks would say, hey, what did you go do? Right? Like, what'd you do? And so one of the things I did, we'll talk about it at the end here, but one of the things I did, just because I was like, I'm going to go do this. I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to go do this, was I did a 44-mile bike ride, like a mountain bike ride. There's a riverfront trail over in the Grand Junction area that goes from Palisade to Loma, Colorado. And the bike trail itself, from one end to the other, is 22.1 miles. So I rode that and then rode it back. It was an all-day thing, but that was something I said, hey, yeah, I did this. And chicks were like, I've always wanted to do that. You know what I mean? So we will talk about that more after the break. But first, let's do some housekeeping, guys. If you guys haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Please sound off in the live today, guys. That will make things go smoother. If you guys do cool stuff, if you guys do any of the stuff that I talk about, sound off in the live. If you guys do other cool stuff, like start thinking of cool stuff that you do that you're proud of. Share it in the chat, right? Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Guys, send super chats. The show is largely supported by you guys. I did a pre-record with Thor last week, but it posted on Saturday. It's demonetized, right? A lot of these videos get demonetized, so I'm supported by viewers like you. So send super chats, please. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll send you stickers. I have new Rule Zero stickers that I'm sending along with these. There's also merch available if you like those designs, available at merch.comeonmanpod.com. And if you sign up for the email list, you get a PDF with 20 dating app openers. I had a guy on, it was either Sunday or Monday. It was actually yesterday. He sent me a DM of a screenshot from a dating app. and he used one of the dating app openers, and the chick was like all on board with it. And he's like, dude, thank you so much for the free game. I was like, yeah, man, to all your friends. So try these out. The dating app openers are guaranteed to capture a woman's attention in the first 7 words. That's the idea, right? Because most chicks aren't trying to find a match with everybody on dating apps. They get 200 matches easy. They don't even have to try. What they're doing is trying to filter out all their options, right? That's the difference. Men are trying to make a connection with literally every chick that they swipe right on. Chicks are trying to filter out all their options. So you got to be able to capture their attention. And a lot of guys that they just open with, hey, what's up? What you doing? Hey, beautiful, wave emoji or whatever. That all just gets lost in the sauce. All right. So these are designed to actually capture attention in the preview pane, right? Because chicks are going to look at the message in the preview pane, and then they're going to say, oh, that's interesting. Let me look at his pictures. Oh, his pictures don't suck. Oh, his bio is actually kind of cool. All right, now I'll converse with him. That's how chicks use dating apps. All right. Guys don't do that. Guys are like, I got a live one. And then they go all in on one chick. And then she ghosts him. And then they're devastated. So anyways, try that out. If you guys are getting matches, but you're not getting conversations going, get the list, get on the email list. Check out my practical law of attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's a mindset course. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is sort of goes hand in hand with this, right? Because when I really started getting into the law of attraction, one of the things I realized is that the law of attraction is nothing without action, right? So if I got a gut instinct, like, hey, go do this, go on a motorcycle ride, go, what are some of the other things I do? Go run a marathon, go sign up for a Tough Mudder, right? Stuff like that. I would just, if I got that instinct to do it, I would do it. I'd take action on it. Because a lot of times you'll find, especially when you set up your goals a certain way and you start focusing on those goals, you'll start just getting these ideas, these epiphanies. Hey, I should do this today. I should go here today. I should look into this today. If you act on it, you are going to be led in a direction that will end you up where you want to be. That's how the law of attraction works. And it's not magic. It's just your subconscious mind is leading you in the right direction. You just got to listen to it and take action, right? So I teach you all about that. Practical Law of Attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. Get on the beer club, guys. The next meetup is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's just, a good group of dudes that get together. Where's Vince? Stole the idea from Vince at Masculine Geek. If you guys would rather get together with guys at Masculine Geek, they also have a similar hangout called Masculine Geek Life. So if you go to masculinegeek.life, I'm giving them a shout out right now because I totally stole their idea for the beer club. But largely it's like either one, right? Either one of these, join one of them, right? Because guys need a good, solid group of dudes that they can go and hang out with. Most guys don't have an outlet like that, right? Or they do, and they just don't take advantage of it. And then they sit there and they dump all their problems on their girl, or they bottle it up, right? I don't know if Nurse Chick wants me to say this, but I'm going to keep everybody anonymous. But she has a friend, and her son, so her friend's husband passed away, right, a couple months ago, and that really got her son, into a depression, right? He was really depressed that he lost his dad. That, I believe, caused his marriage to erode because his wife literally just told him like day before yesterday that she's leaving him. And then that night he offed himself. You know what I mean? Guys just don't bring their problems to the right outlet. You know what I mean? Your boys is the right outlet. So join a good group of guys and just talk about guy stuff. You know what I mean? And if you have a problem like that, bring it to the boys. The boys will help you figure out solutions to your problem. Guys do better when we are brainstorming and coming up with solutions to problems, right? We don't do so well working through our feelings like women do. Okay. So join a good group of guys. Okay. Vince over here has Masculine Geek Live, or you can join my beer club. Either one's good. Either one's good, guys. What's Tyler say? He says, morning, Paul. Got to work, but I'll keep you in the background. I hunt pythons. Build and ride jet skis, go offshore fishing, and catch lobsters in the Keys. Oh, dude, that's all cool stuff. Dude, lobster fishing is that's some, especially like, oh, I'm thinking of like Alaskan crab fishermen, but I would imagine it's similar work, right? It's all just like you're out on a ship or a boat and you've got nets and stuff and you're dealing with the high seas. That's dangerous stuff, man. Yeah, self-deletion stories are way too common. It's sad too, man. Someone asked me on Twitter, right? There was a kid that offed himself, some kind of family issues. He's like, what's the solution to this? And I was like, honestly, I think the solution is frame and a mental point of origin. You know, I think it's oversimplifies it, but I think that really is it. You know, if you make yourself your own mental point of origin, it doesn't matter what else is going on. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter how other people are treating you. You're your own mental point of origin. You know how you feel about yourself, and that it doesn't matter. And that's frame too. You know, you have a frame that you're operating in, and it's how you view yourself. It's how you view the world, and anything outside your frame is amusing or interesting. You know what I mean? If you can get yourself there mentally, you're bulletproof. You're pretty much bulletproof, right? But a lot of guys aren't like that, right? They have a ego investment in their relationships or what they do for a living and all that stuff. And then when it crumbles around them, they're like, they don't see any way out, and they zero out, and then they find a permanent solution to a part-time problem. And it's really unfortunate. So get on the beer club, guys, if you're having a problem with that. I also have coaching available, guys. If you go to gumroad.comeonmanpod.com, you can work with me one-on-one. It's actually me. A lot of these coaching programs I find with guys in the space, it's not the guy on your television set that you're working with, right? They sell a coaching program, but then they sort of outsource it to some other coach. You're going to be working with me directly with this. There's 2 options available. So check those out. If you go to gumroad.comeonmanpod.com, you'll find the coaching and then all my other offerings on there too. If you just have like a question that can be answered in like a 1 minute to 3 minute video, there's an option in there too where I'll make you a custom video answering your question too. So check that out. Gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. Let me play a commercial for the beer club, which again, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Get on it. It's only $10 a month, and it's a good group of dudes. I'll play a commercial for that, and then we'll talk about all the cool stuff I've done since ending things with Red Pill Chick.
Here's a harsh truth that everybody gets upset about online when I say it. They get upset because of their ego investment into the fairy tale idea of love and partnership. They get upset because of their ego investment into the idea that their woman is their best friend, their confidant, and they think that love will conquer all, and that their woman will be there through thick and thin. The truth is that as a man, your woman is hardwired biologically and psychologically to want you to be her rock. It doesn't work the other way around. Women do not care about your struggles as a man. They may think they care. They may even want to care, but her evolutionary DNA will not let her care. If you bring her your problems, she will lose attraction for you over time, and she will leave. Now, whenever I talk about this, people lose their minds and start talking about men unaliving themselves. The faster that men learn that women don't care about our struggles, the faster we'll save the lives of men. Men off themselves because of their own ego investments in the Disney fairy tale lie. And when that fairy tale goes up in flames, they get zeroed out and they end things. Men do need a proper outlet for dealing with their problems, but going to their woman isn't the answer. Men need a tribe. They need a brotherhood. That's why I created my beer club. It's a monthly virtual hangout for men only. It's a place where men can be men. It's a place where men can talk about guy stuff without having to worry about offending women. It's a place where they can go without having to worry about being called toxically masculine. It's a place where they can go to solve their problems. Because men solve problems. Women cause problems, you dig? Visit beer.comeonmanpod.com. That's beer.comeonmanpod.com to sign up.
Yeah. Oh man, look at this. Andrew says women's pussies dry up so fast when they hear about a man's struggles. They really do. It's like, and the way I look at it, it's like women aren't evil, well, some of them are, but the way I look at it is they really want to care. I think they want to care. They even think that they do care. They just, biology just won't let them. That's just how it is, right? they biologically want to be with a strong man. They want to feel safe and secure in the relationship. They want a guy that has his feet on the ground. And if you're constantly, venting and bringing your problems to your girl, it just wears on her, right? She's just like, this guy's a weak bitch, right? And they can't be with weak bitches. Why did I give up my old channel? You're talking about Tech Chop? Are you talking about Tech Chop, Zach? Women will demand you wear a condom, then look at you like you're an idiot when you can't open the damn thing in 2 seconds. Oh man. If this is the real Jack, do you want to join the live, man? Do you want to join the live? I'll send you a link on the Twitters. Just let me know. Let me know. You can join. I'm cool with that. Let's see. Okay. So after, yes, he does. Okay, cool. Because Jack does cool things. He does Legos. All right, man. Hold on 1 second. I'll DM you on Twitter. Where's Jack Napier? Here's Jack Napier. Here you go. Here's the link, man. You're welcome to join. Lego Pokemon. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so while I'm waiting for Jack, so I wrote down some stuff over the last several years. These are things that I decided sort of spur of the moment. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go do this. This is going to be fun for me, and then it's going to give me a good story to tell, right? And the first one I already talked about at the beginning of the show was this was during COVID too, right? There was nothing going on, and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to ride my mountain bike down the Riverfront Trail in Grand Junction, and it's a 22.1 round straight shot. There's Jack. Jack Napier.
Hello.
You
were talking about the mountain bike. How was your visit with Cappy?
Dude, it was awesome. It was awesome. You've hung out with Cappy, right? Like Cappy's
no, not yet.
You've never hung out with Cappy, dude.
Not yet.
Dude, he's just like he is on TV.
On TV?
On TV. He's on YouTube, he's that guy. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about our trip up there, right? So he has this hoopty, right? This 1970s hoopty. We'll just leave it at that. And he put ground lights on it, right? So it's like a pimp mobile with lighting underneath. And he's like, we've got to take it out. We've got to take it out and show it off to the people. Let's go get some pie. All of a sudden he had this hankering for pie. And
Nice.
but it's South Dakota, and it's very much like here where like they roll up the sidewalks at 8 p.m. So it's like, where can we go that's still open that has pie? So we went out, we found a diner, and they didn't have pie, but they had these cinnamon rolls. So he's like, let's get one of these giant cinnamon rolls and we'll share it. It's like, okay, cool. So we get that. Then he's like, let's go get shakes, like milkshakes, And so he takes me to this place that has adult milkshakes, which are like, alcohol's in them.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that there was adult milkshakes. But their milkshake machine was broken. So we left. And then we went to Perkins. I got him to go to Perkins. I got a picture with him out in front of Perkins. I was like, I have to get a picture of you in front of Perkins, Cappy. He's like, fine, fuck, And so we get a picture in front of Perkins. Perkins, like their service up there in South Dakota is just trash though. So we walk in there, we look at the menu. He gets frustrated that there's no one helping us. He's like, fuck it, we're leaving. And so we leave. He goes, you know what? Let's go to Sonic. They're always reliable. Like, okay, cool. So we go to Sonic, we get there, but by this time, like Cappy's like pissed, right? He's pissed that the first two places we went didn't have shakes. We get there, and then none of us can read the sign because their font is so small. Finally, he's like, I'll have a strawberry shake. Is that what it says? Is that and the lady's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And he's just getting more frustrated with the lady. And so finally she goes, so do you want just a regular strawberry shake? He goes, yes. And she goes, okay, is that all? He goes, yes. And then fucking goes to the window, grabs the one shake. And I'm like, oh, we're just getting one shake. He fucking pulls the car over and just starts eating it. Just and I'm just sitting there like, oh, oh, Cappy got a shake. Like I didn't get a shake. Cappy got a shake. And then Cappy's girl's in the back. She's like, is that good, Aaron? And he's like, oh, so fucking good. And he literally just sat there within like 5 minutes. It ate the entire cup of of the milkshake in front of us. I'm like, this is the true Aaron Clary experience for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that kind of lines up with what I've heard about him. Kind of lines up perfectly.
Yeah, on Sunday, we're hanging out at his house. It's kind of a cloudy, rainy day, so we're not out riding motorcycles. And we went out in the morning, went to a cigar shop and stuff like that. And then we came back to his house. He's like, well, I'm gonna go do a live stream. You guys good? All right, cool. And then he was down in his lair doing like a 2-hour live stream, and I'm just up there hanging out with his girl. And so hey, this weather, right? Like there's so I'm like, he's an interesting cat. Love him though.
He's a man on his own. I've heard that before, where he just vanishes. Like he stayed at places for the night, and like without a sound, he's just left. You wake up and he's gone.
Oh, I really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, he has gotten to the point. I mean, he's a great character and all that, but he traded in some social cues from what I hear. It's like he really has stuck the middle finger to the whole world, where it's like, I'm gonna do what I want to do and I don't care. Like, he really, really, really doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, he's funny too, because I was telling Nurse Chick and my mom about Cappy us going to Sturgis, right? Going to Sturgis with Cappy is like going to anywhere with my dad. We go there. He's like, okay, this bar here is one of their famous bars. Let's go in there, have a beer. Okay, let's walk around town. All right, now you've seen Sturgis. Let's get the fuck out of here, right? And it's like, we're not going to stop and shop and look at souvenirs no. He wanted to get the fuck out of there and like, let's go to Deadwood, because he likes Deadwood, which is a real famous old Western cowboy town. There's a TV series about it and stuff. Which is cool too. I mean, riding your motorcycle into Deadwood's a cool experience, but yeah, it was just like, I was just laughing the whole time. You're right. Like, this is actually a more interesting experience, just going with Cappy and being like, yeah, I went with Cappy and this is how it went down,
Yeah, Cappy alone is the experience.
Yeah, for
Cappy
sure.
alone is the experience. I don't know. I do look forward to meeting him. He's like pissed. He is so pissed. Where it's like, yeah, went to Philly and not to me. It's like, oh, hold on. I didn't get much of a say in that. It's like,
yeah. Oh, that was Vince's plan, right? For you guys all to meet up in Philly.
Vince is the most generous man you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Really. It's like, damn. Really,
honestly,
very generous man.
So is Cappy. I mean, Cappy is a real generous host. He'll refer to you as his not a friend the whole time, though, so he can write off all the expenses. But but otherwise, yeah, no, he's a super giving, generous host.
Vince would have asked you what flavor milkshake you would have gotten, told the waitress, and then mentioned his own milkshake. Just saying. He wouldn't even start his milkshake until you finished yours. That's how generous Vince is.
Okay, got it. All right, that makes sense.
He will make sure you have everything you need.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't think Cappy's on that level.
Oh.
Zach Moore wanted to know about why I stopped doing Tech Chop. So I did a tech podcast years ago called Tech Chop. It's still on YouTube. You can go find it. I'm a fat piece of shit on that. And whenever I want to find like a before and after pic, I go back to that and I get screenshots of myself on this. But the reason why I stopped, Zach, was because it became a full-time job and I wasn't enjoying it. That's really what it came down to, So anyway, so we're going to talk about, we're not talking about necessarily the motorcycle rally, although that was on my list, but I wanted to talk about like all the random cool shit that I've done over the last several years since I started getting into this stuff and deciding to like take my life back and be, saying yes to things, kind of like Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Have you ever seen that movie?
I don't know if I have. Could very well be. Liar Liar is the one I'm thinking about.
That one's kind of a similar premise, right? Where he sort of gets hypnotized and he can only tell the truth.
Yeah,
And
and he has an affair, and then she's like, "How was it for you?" And he looks at her, "I've had better."
right,
She just
right,
kicks him out right there. It's like,
he's
ooh.
got to tell the truth. So almost a very similar situation, but totally different movie is Yes Man, where he goes to like some convention, right? Like almost like a Tony Robbins type thing. And this guru's there telling like, giving everyone life advice, and he goes up to Jim Carrey and he basically hypnotizes Jim Carrey and says, anytime someone invites you to go do something, anytime someone suggests going to do something, you have to say yes. You have to say yes. So Jim Carrey ends up going on all these adventures because people were like, hey, I was thinking about doing this today. He's like, okay. Or, and so he starts doing all this stuff and he starts really experiencing life by just saying yes to it, and that's sort of what I ended up doing after when I started getting into the stuff and realizing, man, I'm a boring guy. I just sit at home all day. I watch movies and I try to go on dates and then I have nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? I was like, I need to start doing stuff for myself and going on some of these adventures. And so one of the first things I did was this bike ride that I talked about, right? And it was like a 44-mile bike ride round trip. It took me all day to do it. And it was just by myself. I went out, took pictures. I used some of those pictures for my dating app profile. That was cool. But it showed that I lived like a, sort of a exciting lifestyle where I did fun things. But at the same time, it was just a cool experience to go and do it. My ass hurt for literally 2 weeks after that, though, from the saddle soreness. But
I mean, you gotta have a good saddle.
Yeah.
Have a good saddle.
You was it last year? You went off to go like chop wood or some shit for
yeah, I went
like
to Portugal. That was an interesting experience for a month. So a friend of mine, my former bass player, he's always been like anti-establishment kind of guy. I absolutely love the man, and always has his own thing. Like he's always doing something. He's a carpenter now. Good business, has his own business. And he was working for an organization that dealt with kids who got kicked out of the education system. And they had some land in Portugal and they were building a facility there. And he was like, Jack, I have a place for you in Portugal if you want to. And I'm like, that's not too bad, actually. Away from everything. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But we get there and it was way more off grid than I could have ever imagined.
We talked about like wiping your ass with leaves and stuff, or
not quite yet. There was toilet paper. We had to bring our own. But I remember sitting on the toilet and all of a sudden from the corner of my eye, I saw something moving, and I'm not fond of arachnids. So I was like, oh shit, here we go. But it was a mouse. Thank the Lord.
Okay.
But then I looked up. That was not a mouse.
What was it?
Huge arachnid. I'm like, oh no.
Oh
no.
Like a tarantula.
No. Oh, thank the Lord. No.
Not that big. Okay.
No, not that big. But I was like, no. Luckily, I was finished. Like, I was very happy with that. Like, washing my hands, all of a sudden, I look up. It's like, oh, that was hovering above me the entire time.
Yeah. Did you burn the place to the ground? Because that's
no.
Really
like, at a certain point, I found an understanding with arachnids. I don't fuck with them. They don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
It's a very good understanding. Like every now and then when I run into one, I just wish it good morning and I leave it be. It's like,
there you go.
There we go.
My philosophy on spiders is if they're outside, I'm cool with them. Like they're dealing with the perimeter security when it comes to bugs. But if they're in my house, they're fucking dead. Like you do not belong in my house.
No, even in the house, it depends where they are. It's like, look, you can sit there like across the room. I'm fine. But get near the bed or whatever, then we're gonna have an issue. So don't do that. Because like if they're across the room, it's like proximity, like guard duty. Mosquitoes, whatever, they take care of it. Other than that, no, we're gonna have an issue.
Yeah.
I'm not hired for this position.
There you go. One thing I have on my list that I did this was in 2021, but one of my 3% brothers, Jack's a 3% brother, guys, if you didn't know. One of my 3% brothers, he's a dating coach, and he had a men's retreat that he was putting on in Georgia, Lake Lanier, Georgia. And I was like, I've never been to Lake Lanier. Fuck it, I should go. And I'm gonna go meet these guys that I've become friends with online. Right. Because a lot of guys, like, they don't have a good group of guy friends that they can go to and hang out and meet. Right. And so I was like, I'm going to go meet these guys. So I spent the money, went to his retreat. Man, it was a blast. We did all sorts of stuff there. We did a CrossFit day. We did a yoga day. We did a Brazilian jiu-jitsu day. We went out on a pontoon boat, and, we had it was like some kind of like tow behind raft thing that like wakeboarding almost, but it's on an inflatable.
Mm-hmm.
Went and did all that. And it was just a great time of like-minded dudes. We got together, and this is how I know so much about how women use dating apps. Cause he put on a demonstration, and he had his wife create a dating app profile and showed just like how inundated women get. Just within like 5 hours of her setting up the account and going up to the retreat, she had over 200 matches. And then she was explaining how she used to use dating apps back before she met her husband, and how she used to use dating apps. And so it was like, oh shit. So all of us guys, like, what they were trying to show us was how dating apps suck and how you should use his social media program. But what all of us guys use dating apps there. So we're all like, this is how women use dating apps. Like, we can use this to our advantage. Like, this is how we, game the system. And it was great.
One of the better pieces of advice is if you have a female friend or you're dating somebody and you're non-exclusive and she still has the online dating account, ask her if you can just view it.
Yeah.
And just ask her if you can just view it. Like, you're non-exclusive anyway, so who cares? And just see your competition.
Yeah.
Just look through it, what the guy's profile looked like, or make a female profile of your own.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care which one. You'll see how lackluster most guys are with photos. Most are bathroom selfies or the one with the fish.
Yeah.
That's the majority of it. Or bad posture, bad fitting clothing.
It's just like they'll have 6 pictures of the same outfit in their house, 6 different selfies at different places around their house. It's like, dude, like you literally are showing that you have no life.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like what nobody talks about when people say, oh, women only swipe the top 20%. Yeah, because 80% sucks.
Yeah.
Not because they're unattractive, but they suck. You want to be in the top 20%? Put some hire a photographer, and tomorrow you will be in the top 20% of online dating profile.
That's what I tell. That's what I tell guys. It's not that it's that the 80% of guys that aren't getting dates on there are unattractive. It's they suck at using the dating app. They don't put any effort in. So let's get back to fun shit. What fun shit do? You do Legos?
Yeah, I mean, I built the Legos. I do kickboxing. I used to do salsa dancing. I have my online business thing, which I really enjoy. Like, I'm figuring out, or I'm playing with the analytics that I have, where it's like, oh, this is the time of the day your audience is most active on YouTube. So I took that time and I started live streaming on that time, and my audience tripled. It's like, oh. I
need to look at that, because I do these live streams at 10 a.m. and I don't get that many during the live. Most people tune in for the replay, and I think it's just because of the time. But I do it not because that's when my audience is online. I do it because it's the only time I have before my actual day job starts. So I'm trying to fit it in with the work schedule.
Yeah. No, even with the day job, I can still do it at that time, which is nice. It's like 6 p.m. in the afternoon for me. It's like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So I tried that out, and my audience tripled, and I really enjoy doing that, where it's like figuring small things out where I would want to adjust to my audience. Because topic-wise, I'm kind of like, no, I still want to talk about what I want to talk about, but people have already subscribed so they probably know what I'm about.
Yeah.
which is nice. But then you have to kind of meet in the middle with your audience. Like, when are you guys most active? Okay, can I arrange that? Yeah, I can.
Mhm.
What else do I do? The lifting, of course, the training of people, of course.
Have you ever
What
done
else?
some kind of competition? Either
Yeah,
like
I
a
used to do amateur powerlifting.
okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
used to do amateur powerlifting. I used to love that, but then it was kind of like, at a certain point, I was like, who really cares how much I lift?
Yeah.
Nobody really cares about that. And
Yeah, no, they don't
it
care,
is,
but it's but just the fact that you do an event like that is a good story.
yeah, it was fun. It was a hell of a lot of fun. I remember like my complete, so like people who know me, when I say a complete me moment, they know exactly what I mean. The announcer was like, and in fourth place, Jack Napier. And I look at my girlfriend at the time and my friend who was with me. I'm like, oh, fourth place. Like, oh, that's pretty good. I just,
Mhm.
just barely didn't make the top 3. And she looks at me, she goes, you know, there were only 4 participants in your weight class, right? It's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Top 5, baby.
It's like, oops. She's like, I didn't have the heart to tell you when you were standing there, but
Yeah.
now that you're off stage, it's like there were only 4 people in your weight
Man,
class.
what a
Oh.
how dare she let the wind out of your sails like that?
Oh no! Oh, she was great, man. She was one of the greatest. Where she knew I liked chocolate, and when I had an event, she always had a chocolate bar ready, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
So no bad word there.
I so you know I do running.
Yes, I do. I
You're
am
aware
familiar with that fact.
you're aware of this,
I'm
but
aware.
so I joined a running club, a local running club back at this was during 2020. I was out running every day, and this guy, one of the guys, his wife started the club. He sees me running out in the sun, out during on my route every day, and he would drive by. So he just drove by one day with a business card, and he's like, "Hey, we have a local runners club. You should join it." And I was like, "I should join it. Thank you." And so I decided to start going, and it was actually a pretty interesting group of people. There was a guy in there that was like 84 years old. That was
Mhm.
he had run every major marathon in the world, and he would love
Everyone.
every single one in the entire world. And he was still out there running. He would go out there and run like 5 and 10Ks when I first met him. Over the last couple of years, he's slowly started deteriorating, and he's not because of the running, but he's started getting like dementia and stuff. And so his wife stopped taking him to run club, which is really unfortunate because that like came in within like a year. But just I was like, man, that guy, what an interesting story. Being 84 years old, being like, I did this. I ran every major marathon in the world. I don't think I want to do that. I've ran my marathon. I'm done. The marathons aren't that fun. But
No, like I said, I mean, it is pretty cool that you do it. I mean,
yeah,
at least you do it. And that's the
the,
only compliment you'll ever receive from me about that.
well, the guy who invited me to join Run Club, when the first time I went, we're jogging together, and he's like, "So, what's the furthest you've ever ran?" And at that point, the furthest I'd ever ran was 7 miles on accident, and
Yeah.
that's because I decided I was going to take this route. I was house sitting for my parents. I took this one route, and I didn't realize how far it was, but it was a 7-mile loop. And when I
Mhm.
got home, I looked at my watch, and it was like, "Oh, you just ran 7 miles." I was like, "Son of a bitch." No wonder it felt like the run that would never end. And so he goes, "Why haven't you ran further than that?" And I was just like, "What? Like 7 miles isn't enough?" And it turns out like all these guys had at least ran, a half marathon. And so it just dawned on me. I was like, "Why haven't I? Why couldn't I?" There's no reason why I couldn't. And so the next year, I started chatting with a couple of the other people, and they're all like planning out their year, like, "Oh, let's run this marathon. Let's run this half marathon." And this gal that I'm friends with still, Tyrene, she's like, "Let's plan to run Mount Sneffels marathon." And I was like, "Fuck it. Let's do it." And so that one ended up being canceled because of all the COVID stuff. Still, they're very liberal in that area. But there's one up on the monument in Grand Junction that was still going on. So we signed up for that one. That was at the end of the year. And so just training for that, getting ready for that led us to start signing up for like every other crazy race that year. And so I ran a 18-mile trail race up on the Grand Mesa. that year. I did a half marathon in Utah, and I did a 14-mile ridiculous race in Marble, Colorado, which like the first 5 miles is like this. It's like straight uphill. And I venture to say that race was harder than the marathon itself, just because of the elevation gain and stuff. But I did all that stuff in a period of a year, you know. And then also I signed up for my normal 5Ks and stuff that year, and I smoked everybody in my age group, you know, just because I was running so much. Oh, Zach wants to know running versus squats.
Completely different topics, non-comparable. One is cardio, one is strength and resistance. So they're completely different animals.
Well, I do tell people, because I'm always talking about like the 4 exercises, right? And and I'm always talking about the calisthenics, and I say running and or squats. Like if you don't want to do running, then do squats. Like that'll work your lower body and stuff. But it's a totally different exercise, and it gives you a different physique, because like a runner's legs are typically very, very thin. You know, you don't get like jacked glutes with it. I have a very bony ass because of my running.
So squat more, man. Just squat more. Girls like good bums on a guy.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that, though. I was like, what? Yeah, you've got a great ass. It's like, you watched that? I was like, yeah. Like, okay. Good to know.
I got no ass, and I really felt it on the motorcycle rides. Friday and Monday, because they were like 14-hour rides, and with no cushioning down there, it's just bone. And after like the first 5 hours, it's like, this fucking hurts, you know.
Oh man, I already have that when I like 2 hours on my bicycle, where it's like, oh god, I need a different saddle. Like, like on my city bike, I have a good saddle, but like every now and then I borrow my dad's electric bike. He has like one of those thin saddles. It's like, ugh, fuck.
Oh, I can't do those. I got to get those big, wide girl saddles. Otherwise,
you gotta be comfortable, man. You gotta be comfortable.
I'm like, I'm going to be, I'm going to be as comfortable as I can on a bicycle.
You should,
but I won't do 44 miles on a bike anymore.
But it's like one of those small little things that I think guys don't think about. It's like a mattress, where it's like, how long do you spend on it? Well, don't you want it to be as comfortable as possible?
Yeah, you spend like, I don't know, 80% of your life sleeping. You might as well invest in a comfortable mattress. I highly believe in that. Yeah. So
it's so funny that I've got some bummed out mattress and I've never slept better. I love it.
Do you?
I don't even know how old that thing is. I just absolutely love it. Never slept better. In Portugal, I slept on the couch. I loved it. I love that couch. Like, Jack, we do have a bed. I'm like, don't care.
I'm good.
Couch. Yeah. I don't even know what it was. But it's like, no, I don't want to be in the bed. I really don't know. That couch was just very comfortable. Just a very comfortable couch. And for some odd reason, I did count the days. It's like, yeah, man, I want to go home. But I saw it through. I was like, no, I accepted this. I will go through it, only to appreciate more what I have at home. And before I went to Portugal, like, I had some Lego. I did sell a lot of it. And in Portugal, I kind of realized, like, minimalism is all fine and dandy, but you do want to live, and you do want like some form of material that expresses your personality. And that's why I got back into it, kind of thing. And like I said, I would do Portugal again just for that experience of understanding what I don't want. Because that's what a lot of experiences does to you as well. Finding out what you don't want.
Yep.
Date the BPD chick. Do it.
Right. And that's what I did with the marathon. You know, I was like, okay, I did it. I can say I did it. I'm good. Like, I'm going to stick to 5 and 10K races. Like, those are fun for me. I like doing those. I did last year I did the 10K Tough Mudder, and that was actually a fun experience for me. But I'm at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever do a mud run again. Although I did this year, I did a 5K Montrose Mudder with Nurse Chick. I took her to her first 5K, and it happened to be a mud run, but it wasn't as intense as the Tough Mudder was. Tough Mudder's obstacles were crazy. Remember, I was like, I was doing like the monkey rings and stuff. I had to train for that. This I didn't even have to train for it. It was just sort of like go play in the mud for a little bit. Otherwise, it was a 5K race. It was pretty easy. Let's see what else do we have here on my list.
I can't stay for too long, by the way. I've got like another show in 5 minutes.
Okay, well, if you gotta go, that's cool.
I was bored before, where it's like, oh, what I gotta do, and Nuke was like, hey, you want to play a game? I'm like, sure. And I set it all up. He's like, yeah, by the way, I have to kick this bitch out. It's like,
oh no, Marty, we're live right now, man.
Marty, of course, this is pre-recorded. We are talking from you in the future.
Last Friday's episode was pre-recorded because I was on my motorcycle on my way up to Cappy's house. So
you didn't do a show together with Cappy?
No. I told you, like, he just decided to go record his 2-hour live stream on Sunday.
He didn't even ask you if you wanted to join.
He didn't even ask. He was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go." He was inspired by something and decided he was gonna go do his live.
Oh, it probably was inspired by the bad service at Perkins, the ice cream machine not working.
Actually, this was before all that.
Really?
Yeah, he was inspired by other things. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, he just I'm gonna go do my live. You guys good? Okay, and then he just. Went and did like a 2-hour live stream. I was like, this guy right here. So another thing that I did was Nurse Chick does this now, right? So she started dating me. She'll just come up with ideas of things that we could go do. And she decided to book a trip to this resort in Gateway, Colorado, which is not far from us. It's only like maybe an hour, but there's this huge resort in the middle of nowhere. And you go down there and it's like 5-star resort. They have a car museum there that has a $6 million car in it. And because the car is like one of the original Harley Earl concept cars. And I don't know if you know who Harley Earl is, but he was some famous car designer back in the day. And one of his very first concept cars went up to auction for $6 million and they bought it. And it's on this like rotating display there in the middle of fucking nowhere. Right. And then it was on a ranch. So we went horseback riding and stuff like that. Like that, all that kind of stuff is a fun experience. We disrespected every surface in the hotel room, like that. Guys, talk about experience.
Full motley crew.
Well, that's the funny thing. That was my idea. I told her, I go, we're gonna disrespect the table. We're gonna disrespect the ottoman. So that's a fun thing to do with your girl. Disrespect all the surfaces in a hotel.
And for the youngsters in the audience, if you don't know what he means by disrespecting, he means plowing.
You know exactly what I mean, guys. You know exactly what I mean. Let's see here. Nurse Chick also started doing fitness competitions. So she did 2 last year. So her first one that she signed up for was I think it's called Wellness, right? It's where you do a before and after pick, and she won first place in that because she's on her own journey, but she went from being a very heavy set woman. This would be well before I met her. But now she's like super fit, she's got 6-pack abs and stuff. And so her before and after pick is just like night and day. And then like your competition, right? Where there was only like 4 people or something. And it was very similar. It was just her and this other lady, but the other lady, her before and after pick, like you couldn't even tell the difference.
Oh, that's sad.
And the thing is, normally that lady joins those competitions. We found this out from Nurse Chick's trainer, but Nurse Chick's trainer's like, this chick joins these competitions at every one, and she's usually the only entrant, and so she always wins. And she does it as her accountability. She wants to do it as her accountability for weight loss, but she's actually like gained weight, and so she's like, she went and told that girl's trainer, like, you need to tell her to stop doing these competitions until she actually starts losing some weight, and like have the the harsh talk
Oh,
But
that's actually pretty sad.
nurse chick, like when she brought out her before picture and then you see like what she looks like now, everyone that, like in the audience was like, oh shit, because nurse chick's come a long way and she looks great. And then she
Nice.
did, and then she did no, that wasn't wellness. It was Body Quest. That was Body Quest. And then she went and did a wellness one, which is a different type of fitness cup. They have all sorts of different categories. I'm not sure what the differences are, but she went and did one in Phoenix last year. So we went down to Phoenix and did that competition. And one of the most interesting things about that wasn't the competition, was the fact that I have a pro wrestling fan, or a pro wrestler that I'm a fan of, I should say, that I met and had him on the podcast. Right.
Nice.
And he lives down there. So I reached out to him. I said, hey man, I'm coming down to Phoenix. Like, what is there to do in Phoenix? And all of a sudden I get all these He's like, oh man, you need to go to this restaurant. The fair's going on. You need, and I'm like, look at me getting recommendations on shit to do in town from a pro wrestler. Like
Network is net worth, my friend.
Dude. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I need to run to the other appointment.
All right, man. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on for the moment, man. It's been great seeing you again.
Yeah.
We'll catch up soon.
Yeah. We gotta do this again.
Cheers.
All right. Peace out. All right, guys. Back to the topic at hand, since we were so rudely interrupted by Jack Napier. So let's get back. Let's go through these quickly. We're already at an hour. Let's see here. So Nurse Chick did 2 competitions last year. Wrestler friend of mine suggested things to do. That was one thing I did. This was last year. I also randomly flew up to hang out with Aaron Clary. This was before I was on Rule Zero too. I had Aaron on the podcast earlier that year to talk about Book of Numbers. And then somehow he and I were conversing and he was like, oh, you should come up and visit me. And I was like, okay. Right. Like, yes, man. Right. Just say yes to things. So I was like, yeah, I'll fly up, and bought plane tickets, went up and hung out with Aaron Clary for a few days. And that was a really cool experience. Aaron took me all around the area up there, very much like this time, except for it was after the rally. So it wasn't as busy. Let's see here. I took Nurse Chick to her first pro wrestling event last year in December. And if you guys didn't know this, if you go to a local independent wrestling show, oftentimes there's very big name wrestlers that show up, right? From WWE, the old WCW days, AEW sometimes, because a lot of those guys either are no longer signed with that company, but they're still off doing the independent circuit or, whatever. So I took her to that event and we got to meet Diamond Dallas Page. We got to meet Eric Bischoff. We got to meet Josh Alexander. He was at the time the Impact World Champion. So they're all at a meet and greet table. I got an autograph from DDP. We got our picture taken with him. He's on the thumbnail. You're right. Nurse Chick and I got to meet Diamond Dallas Page. And like, just saying like yes to events like that. And that was in Utah, right? We had to go travel to do that. So I booked a hotel. But that kind of stuff is like inexpensive. You can do that for just like a couple $100, these types of experiences, a lot of these things that we're talking about don't cost a lot of money to go do. And then you have stories to tell people that make you a more interesting person because you actually go out and do things and you don't have to break the bank doing it. You know what I mean? This year, Nurse Chick and I did the Montrose Mutter. I just did my trip up to Sturgis. We've already talked about that quite a bit. Went up there and hung out with Aaron Clary again. Man, going motorcycle riding with Aaron Clary by itself is an experience. But man, riding into the Full Throttle Saloon on a bike, dude, just that alone, just riding in, and there's hundreds of bikes there. And then you walk into the world's biggest biker bar, and there's just hundreds of bikers in there, and you're one of them. Like, that's kind of cool. That's a cool experience. Let's see here. In 2 weeks, I'm going to another fitness competition with Nurse Chick in Utah. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to England, right? Nurse Chick and I decided this year, fuck it, we're going to England. So I'm going to go hang out with, we're going to go stay with one of my 3% brothers up in Northampton. And then we're going to go see all the sites in England. I haven't been outside the United States since my Navy days. And I was just like, fuck it, we're doing it. Right. And then I'm going to do Fall Fight Club with Glenn Lawrence in Las Vegas. I'm doing an actual pro wrestling event myself. Going to be in a match. Isn't that crazy? Because I decided like Glenn came up with this idea, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Right? Imagine the experience of actually going and being in a pro wrestling ring and being a part of the show. So we're working with Big Valley Wrestling in Las Vegas, and we're really doing that. Yeah. The London Eye is cool to see. What's the London Eye, Larry? Oh, guys, next week on Monday, my shipmate here, Larry Beach, he's going to be on the podcast, by the way. Yeah, we both lost weight and found each other. It's very cool. That's one of the things I like about Nurse Chick is that she's on her own journey. You know, she's doing her own work on herself. And the fact that she's doing all this work on herself and I'm doing this work on myself, it makes for an effortless relationship. Oh, it's is it that Ferris wheel in London? Okay. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I didn't know it had a name, the London Eye. I mean, obviously it has a name. That makes sense, but never thought about it before. Next year, Nurse Chick is going to take up running. She's going to stop doing the fitness competitions and she's going to start taking up more running. She's already signed up for her first 10K because I did a Desert Rats trail run this year. It was a 10K. I got first place I didn't put this on the list here, but I got first place in my age group. And I was in like top 17 or something like that overall. Right. I ran that thing pretty fucking fast. And so Nurse Chick went there to go watch me do it. And she saw me come in and she's like, I'm going to do this. So she signed up for it for next year. And so she's living in that future. Right. My friend Tyrene talks about that, right? If you are thinking about doing something, fucking sign up for it. Just do it. And then she calls it living in that future already, right? When you put it on the calendar and you do it and you ask for the PTO, like you're already living in that future that you're making things happen. Instead of going, one of these days I'm going to go, just fucking go. You know what I mean? So we're doing that with England. And then and this year we were also going to go hike 4 14ers, but we decided to do all this other crazy stuff like Fall Fight Club and going up to Sturgis and all this stuff instead. So we're going to push that off to next year. She's going to take up running and we're going to go climb 4 14ers. But all this stuff is an experience. And it's stuff that I've just said yes to. And it's stuff that I do for myself because it's like, man, just going out and doing these things and spending the money on a memory as opposed to spending money on bullshit stuff that I'm never going to use. It's a better way to live, I think, you know, and then it makes you a more interesting person, which tends to make you more attractive. It's a byproduct, right? Oh, let's see here. The huge one they have also Stonehenge. You could get a bus to there. So yeah, so we're going to be basically staying in Northampton, and then we're going to be going out from there. That's just south of Nottingham. So we're going to go to Nottingham Castle and check out Sherwood Forest and stuff like that. And then I think, you know, my 3% brother Luke is going to come up to meet us one of the days. I told my brother Lewis that the guy we're staying with that I need to go to a proper soccer hooligan pub. And he's like, well, there's no shortage of those around. So he's going to take me to a local one, hopefully. And so we could get into a cool bar fight there. That'd be great. That would be an experience, right? Get to a soccer hooligan bar fight. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I got. I didn't expect Jack Napier to show up, but it was a fun little surprise. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Thanks for everybody that sounded off in the chat today. Next time, send super chats. That helps support the show. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Send super chats, guys. Like I said, get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. You get 20 dating app openers. And then I'll also send you some stickers. There's Rule 0 stickers available now too that I send with those all for free, just for signing up for the email list. If you like those designs, you can get hats, you can get mugs, okay, at merch.comeonmanpod.com. That supports the show too. Check out the Practical Law of Attraction course. Law of Attraction's nothing without action. All this stuff today is stuff that I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take action. I got a gut feeling. I went and took action on it. I learned that from Practical Law of Attraction, and just having that mentality of like going with your gut and saying yes to things has led me down like a really fascinating path. You know what I mean? So learn more about that with the course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. Get on the beer club. The next meetup is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's only $10 a month. It's a good group of dudes. We just talk about guy stuff, right? There's no agenda there. We just talk about whatever. Just have drinks like with the, bring cigars if you want. It's just a good group of guys. Think of it like the cover charge for your favorite club, or think of it like skipping Starbucks and then having a good outlet to come and bring your shit to. You know what I mean? It's good for our mental health as guys to hang out with other like-minded guys. And if you want coaching's available at gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. You can actually see all my offerings. I moved everything over to Gumroad, so check that out. Gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. We will see you guys on Friday. What the hell am I talking about Friday? Oh yeah, there's I was trying to think of what I could do for an episode, and there's an old article, right, that was written in 2012 called "The Most Responsible Teenager in the House." Women, the most responsible teenager in the house. We're going to go over that article on Friday. That should be fun. All right, guys. I will see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.